What's going on, guys? 3 months ago I joined Copart, a car salvage auction website, with the intention of finding my sonny's first car or a little fun project car for myself. Weeks go by and I'm bidding on lots of stuff and everything's just coming up, reserve not met, you didn't win it, you've been outbid. Eventually I start bidding on everything. I just start bidding on 10, 15 cars at a time, thinking there's no real risk to winning anything. Now what I didn't know is Copart has this sneaky little rule where if the reserve isn't met, the seller gets the option of having up to 2 days to change their mind and either give you a counter offer or let it go for the reserve not met price.
Please, no! 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 No!
So, which cars did I win? 1 Series convertible. This is just saying I thought it would be a little fun, easy, cheap project for myself. Only issue is this was a non-runner. It's still a non-runner. I've had a lot of people in the comments on the first video suggest that it could be a slip timing belt, which could be catastrophic and not worth repairing. Cheap little economical car potentially for my son. This is the least worst damaged one, although it does need an entire rad pack. The damage is quite deceiving because it goes back quite deep here, and underneath here all the crash bar and everything is pretty badly done in. This one was a non-runner, but I managed to get it running in the first video by simply resetting the fuel cut-off, which is a safety thing to make sure there's no fires in a crash. Off, left, off. And then what after that? Just try and start it, take the key out of the ignition. Oh! The final car, this one, which is what my son chose in the first video for his first car. He had the option of the easy one, didn't you, Lou? Yeah, he had the option of the easy one. When this turned up, I'm absolutely shocked at the amount of damage this has, and for what it is and what it's worth, if it weren't for my son wanting it, I'd probably throw it in the bin.
In the bin!
This one is a runner actually. It's a 2011 turbo diesel and it runs. That's about where the good stuff about this car ends. I don't even want to think what's happened to this windscreen. Looks like someone's landed on it, but this is even worse. So you've got passenger and steering wheel airbag, and that means the entire dashboard is going to have to be ripped out. And while I'm not afraid of trying that challenge for the first time, it's not something that really motivates me, a Ford car, you know. So I think the only thing that's going to motivate me through this one is the learning curve of the experience I'll pick up and the motivation of it's going to be my son's first car. But that is a lot of work just to do a Ford KA, but we will be tackling this one. So 3 cars. Is this the worst financial decision I've ever made? I've already given 1 car away for free for my son, so already my chances of even breaking even on the £1,500 purchase costs and all the parts it's going to cost to fix. Right, so today we're going to be tackling this one. It runs, it's got the least damage, and hopefully we're not going to lose any money in the process. Let's go. So first up, we decided to remove the front bumper to try and assess the amount of damage on the rad pack. This was fairly simple. There was around 4 Torx bolts on the slam panel. Inside the wheel arch there was 2 or 3 crosshead screws and another Torx bit connecting it to the front wing. Then once we removed the bumper, it was pretty obvious the rad pack had substantial damage. The front lower crash bar was completely destroyed, and the bottom bar of the rad pack was heavily dented inwards by about 10 inches. What I'm going to do next is remove the 2 headlights, a bolt here, 1 there, and then there's one underneath, which from underneath you can normally access it through a little flap, but obviously because there's no bumper on it, it's nice and easy, so I think you've got 1 there. I would remove the whole rad pack as one. However, since the bottom bar of the rad pack is bent in so badly down here, the radiator is almost dropping out anyway in the air conditioning condenser. So normally it rests on the bottom bar, because since the bottom bar is the thing with the worst damage, I'm just going to drop the radiators down after the headlights. So let's go. Little squeezy clip on the back of the light. Try and do it left-handed. There you go. Headlights out. Now we've got the radiator out and the air condenser, air conditioning, air condenser, whatever you call it, we can really see why we need to change this metal rad pack. So where it's had an impact bang there, it's brought these in, especially this one that's at that angle there. This should be kind of straight. So the reason I've taken a radiator out is I'm going to try and straighten this out a little bit before removing it. So I'm going to find some kind of device to pull this bar back out straight again and try and straighten all these mounting points, because the distance between these is probably going to have shrunk drastically, you know, and the new parts aren't going to line up. Now this isn't structural per se, this is purely for mounting the bumper and the radiators in, so it's not structural as such. It's not part of the main chassis, but we want to get it a bit straighter. So we're running out of daylight today, so we're going to have a little clean up. We've had a bit of a clean up. We're going to have a full clean up, pack everything away because it's getting dark and we're not we're peasants of the YouTube world. We don't have a fancy workshop and a car lift. Be nice, but out here in the elements. So next job is going to be putting out the damage before removing the parts. And in the meantime, there's a couple of jobs that are important that I can get on. One of them is the bumper. Now, I kind of feel like with each project, you kind of need to assess whether it's worth, like for a full KA, it's not worth going out to a main dealer, buying a brand new front bumper, all the trim, having it sprayed. It's just not worth it for the value of the car. And while I'm tempted to go out and get a second-hand bumper, I like to give something else a try first before we decide if we need to go down that route. So I've gone out and I've got this plastic welder or whatever you want to call it. This is really cheap. This was about £20 on Amazon, and how effective it is, I don't know. But I've seen other people do bumper repairs with these, and I think it's worth a shot for the sake of 20 quid rather than spending £80+ on a bumper. That being said, this bumper is rather mullered. If we actually check out how bad the damage is, for starters, we've got a huge underneath section that's missing. So we've got this piece missing from within there. You've got one crack here. It's split all the way from here up to this cover. It's completely split all the way down here, and then it feeds into this piece that's missing, and all of this area would need to be stapled. Not forgetting this split here as well. So, ambitious? Yes. Impossible? No, nothing's impossible. There's not exactly a strong foundation with this particular problem, but yeah, we've got nothing to lose and only something to gain. Let's give it a go. Right, we've finished putting as many staples in as we think this should actually have, and I don't know, like, I'm kind of happy with it, but there's some bits of this bumper that are permanently dented that aren't level. Like here, you've got to raise the lump, but there's some bits of it that are sitting really flush. The real test is now picking this thing up and seeing if it's got the normal rigidity it would have on a bumper. I mean, there's going to be some flex because it's not fitted to the car, but in terms of strength, I haven't tested it, I haven't flipped it over. I don't think it's going to look amazing on the other side, but everything from this section back is going to be underneath the car and out of sight. So the only real bits is this section here, here and here that's going to be on the bottom 3-4 inches max underneath the grill. So I think we can make it work if it's strong enough. So I'm going to pick it up now, moment of truth. Is it going to fall to bits? I would say that is going to be alright. So yeah, we just need to come in now and cut the little metal bits off that are left. And there's no reason why I can't run some epoxy resin on the back of this just to make it even stronger still. But I think it's going to be alright. I say we flip this over now. Hello, Loki. I say we flip this over now and have a look how it's come out. I mean, you can see the dents in here where the damage was underneath, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. The bits you're going to see is going to be like that. How does that look from there? Like, you know, I mean, I'm not going to leave it like that. It's going to have a little bit of prep work. So the bits that you're going to notice is that much there. That's pretty good. I can do something with that. You're going to see this bit here. And then everything after that, you're not going to see unless you really look. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That is sturdy enough. Got a little bit more work to do on it yet, but I think this bumper is reusable. Yeah, so I think the plastic welding gun, model H150 from Amazon for $19.99, good investment. So I left the front end of this because I decided there's elements of this that I need to push and pull, and because I've never done anything like this before, I had to think what tools might I need. We need to pull this bar back out, which is gonna make these mounting points straighten up. So we're going to need a mixture of pushing and pulling. Now, why I could have been a complete redneck, got a tow rope on this and just sent, you know, full send with my van, decided to be a bit more professional about it. So this is a 10-ton hydraulic ram. This can extend out with various attachments to give a pushing force of up to 10 tons, which is insane. I've not even used it yet. Connect that to there, pump it up, and it gives a measured amount of force. It's going to be a lot more controlled and a really useful tool for car repair. Also, while you can kind of get various attachments to turn that into a pulling device, I thought I might need to push and pull at the same time. So, and I can't remember exactly now, it might have been 500 kilogram or 1.5 tons, something like that, of pulling resistance. And it's got a ratchet system, so we can pull and push with great precision. And I think I'm quite excited about this. I think this might work. I might be wrong, but we'll see. So the idea is, first of all, I'm going to put this on the tow bar onto that lower bar that's bent, and we're going to try and pull it out. Before I do this, the way this has smashed that in, these are the mounting points for everything, and the crash bar, which is all connected to this bar. Because that's pushed in, it's brought and it's bent these arms in. What I'm going to do before anything is take a measurement of the replacement second-hand crash bar from the centre of the bolts, and we're going to compare that to this one to see how far out this is. So if I go from the centre mounting hole, this is just kind of a rough idea, that is close to 90.5 or 91 centimetres from this centre hole to the next centre hole. So let's say 91 centimetres. Now if I take the same measurement on the damaged rad pack, 86 centimetres. So probably a good 4.5–5 centimetres. So about 2 inches out. So I'm glad that I made this decision. We're going to try doing some straightening now and then retake that measurement and see if we can get it any close to sort of 90 to 91 centimetres. Right, ready for this? Quite excited, let's go. Right, so to start with, I put the winch over the lower bar and was trying to straighten that out because it was pushed back about 8 to 10 inches quite badly, and it wasn't really working as well as I'd hoped it would work. So next up I decided to get the 10-ton hydraulic ram and start pushing the mounting points apart under pressure whilst making adjustments to the chain winch at the same time. So I'm putting equal amounts of push and pull pressure to correct all the damage. And to begin with, it didn't seem to be doing a lot. I'm not sure if there was just a bit of air in the system. I checked all the connections were tight. Kept pumping what felt like forever. And then I started taking measurements and realised that it was actually starting to straighten. It really surprised me that the lower bar didn't bend as easy as I thought it would bend. Doing a combination of both pushing and pulling of the mounting points and the lower rad pack bar, we really did start to notice some difference. And at one point I had to add an extension bar to the hydraulic ram because we've moved it so much we could get extra leverage and fit an extension. Then we released the pressure when it started getting closer to the measurement that we needed and took some measurements. Noticed that it relaxed by about 1 centimetre. At this point we were only 1 centimetre out of having it straight. So went in for a final push. It was getting dark and it's so close. There's been a couple of loud bangs during this process and we're not entirely sure what that is. We'll have to investigate whether it's one of the metal bars attached cracked under pressure. I did notice one of the bolts has disappeared, so maybe the pressure of pushing has made a couple of bolts snap. Hopefully it's just that, because we can easily replace that. Right guys, got the first seatbelt out, or mostly out anyway now. Decided it was easier to just remove the entire seats for this, just in the process of doing the driver's side. The other thing is, I've removed this because when I go to clean the car up before selling it, this is the grubbiest bit because of this red design on the fabric. I'm thinking about leaving the seats out and taking them to someone just to valet or clean the seats, or do it myself. I think if we can clean that up, the whole car's going to look much better. So this part sits lowest down on the seatbelt. This is where you click your seatbelt into. This normally sits on the floor, and what's happened here is it's got a cable inside this bit which in the crash has been pulled back into this device. Here's one from a car that hasn't been crashed, and you can see the length of this cable compared to the length of that. It's been pulled in by about 4 inches. Right, it's a good time. We're going to finally see whether the slam panel fits. So basically we're going to rip this old one out now. I think these top holes are square and never got bent. So I'm going to try and remove this, hoping that the bolts don't snap and nothing goes too majorly wrong because they're quite rusty. And then we're going to hang the new rad pack off the top bolts and see how far out the lower bolts are. Well, let's hope that goes that easy. I did WD-40 these twice over the last 2 days. Yeah. So far so good. This is the ONEVAN impact driver, 1/2-inch impact driver, and it is absolutely dirt cheap, and I've been sent this for free to evaluate for the YouTube channel. This is absolutely insanely cheap, and we're going to find out on this project if it's any good. I'll put the link in the video description, guys. So far it's smashing these bolts without any issues. Yeah, she's coming away now. Oh, the whole weight of it is on this last bolt. Nothing's stopping it from falling down. 110mm bolt. Get ready to crack the champagne. I'm not sure if anything else is connected. Let's find out. Right, that just pinged out of there. Out of that clip. Out of that clip. Look. Ta-da! All of that work for this, just because that bent bar there, obviously a completely mullered crash bar. That's why that car now has to look like that. Look at it. Right, we are now officially halfway there at least. Just in case a scrap metal man comes past, I'm going to leave it out. Hopefully someone might take it for free. Right, so now we can see clearly. I think these are completely dead square and undamaged. I think these that one was slightly bent. This one I think was completely straight. This one was absolutely mullered and bent inwards. So my idea at this point is get the new rad pack, or the new second-hand rad pack, stick in the smaller bolts into the top holes, and then if these don't line up, which we suspect they don't as we saw already, might have to push or pull or manipulate this to get the bolts to line up. I literally, how long has it been? Like 2.5 minutes since I left that? Yeah. I just said, oh, the scrap metal man come past. I put that there 2 minutes ago. Perfect. Do you mind having 15 bolts in your rad pack? I just think it's too much effort to just get this last one to line up. Right. Apart from double checking it's tight, all I need to do is get them bottom bolts to line up there, on that one corner. Might need to borrow one of these. That's worked. Look, it's almost pretty much there already. Can you see daylight on the camera? I'm not sure if it'll come out. So whilst the seats are out of the car from doing the seat belts, decided it was a good time to give the interior a quick clean up. So we started laying the seats out on the pavement, spraying them with fabric cleaner, letting it soak in for a bit and giving them a good scrub with a cloth and a brush. Then I borrowed a carpet cleaner off my mum and some home concoction in the water bottle of white vinegar, Saflora, fairy liquid and a bunch of other stuff, baking soda. I'm definitely no car valeter, as you can probably tell, but we gave it a good old wipe over, cleaned the dash, hoovered the carpet, and there was a couple of bits of missing trim for the dashboard on the driver's side and the glove box. Got all those back on, got the back bench seat in, bolted that down, and then got the front seats in, and now the interior, as you can see, is completely finished. Now the seats are still a little bit damp in places, so they look a little bit patchy, and we're going to leave the heater on for a couple of hours, but it's looking good, it's looking fresh, it smells nice. And now it's time to get the front of this car finished and get this thing to the MOT centre. The car is almost done now, guys. All that's left to do is a bumper, and I've never done any painting before now. I've got zero experience, which will probably show, but going to give it a go anyway. So the first thing we did was took an angle grinder to the front of the bumper, because some of the plastic staples had come through and there was a few high spots. So we carefully knocked back all the metal staples, any high plastic spots with the angle grinder, being careful not to remove too much. And then after that, took some epoxy resin and tried to pour some inside the bumper and frog taped the outside of the bumper to stop the epoxy running through. Left that overnight to cure, just to give it a little bit of extra strength. And then the next step was using some big boy plastic filler, and we ended up doing 2 coats of filler. The first one was to get most of the bumps out. Second one was a little bit more fine filling, just to fill a few small holes. Sanded that down twice. It definitely wasn't perfect and I could have got it better, but we really pushed for time on this. We want to get this finished now. I built Primer Next, got 3 coats of that on, 10 minutes between each coat. Sanded that down with fine sandpaper, and then we are ready for the direct gloss paint. After I got the 3 coats on, I had a 2-hour break waiting for it to dry, so I went to jiu-jitsu. And then when I got back from jiu-jitsu about 10 o'clock at night, I come back from jiu-jitsu and finished it off by spraying a little bit of Ultra Blend. Ultra Blend helps you merge between old paint and new paint. I think it breaks down the lacquer of the old paint and kind of merges it together, so it's less obvious that you've blended 2 paints together. I didn't mask anything off at all on the bumper, I just removed the grille, the plastic trims. So finally, after hours of work on this car, this is the final piece left to complete it, and I cannot wait to get this back on and see this thing finally done.
She's like dynamite when she cries alone at night. She got everything she needs, so beautiful but mean. Everything in life is so uncomfortable. The silent symphony no one can hear. Something broke inside her a long time ago, and she's not supposed to be alone.
Right, so how much does this car cost in total to repair? The car price itself was £225 from Copart. Auction fees come out at £337.99, which is insane. The car only cost me barely over £200. With fees, it was more like £560 by the time you added VAT, auction fees, car delivery, which is absolutely insane how much it can bump price up. Slam panel and rad pack about £70. 2 seat belts and tensioners, I got a bargain, there was only about £45 for that. Paint products, painting the bumper myself, about £55, not including the plastic welding tool. Lower crash bar, £25.21. Brand new battery, £63. 2 front tyres, £98. And little bits like antifreeze and other stuff added up to about 50 quid. So, was it worth it? £969.20. So, was it worth it? Other 09 KAs are going for about 1,000 to 3,000, like a massive gap between what kind of spec they are. It probably was for like experience and something to do with my son as a first car. It was probably worth it for that reason. While we were building this just as a first ever crash repair for the channel, we decided halfway through that this was going to be my son's first car. He's currently doing driving lessons, which are very expensive, and for me as a single parent doing full-time YouTube, I can't afford to keep paying for lessons without him having extra time in his own car. So, made most sense to get the cheaper car that was already close to being on the road finished. Right, so now this car is yours. If anything's broken on it now, you're on your own, alright? You can fix it. Good luck. Yeah, only joking. Love you. Proud of you. Please don't crash it. And do you want to have your first drive of it? Yeah. Yeah? Let's go. Oh, you're driving, aren't you? Yeah. I've never been in a car of my own son yet, so this should be interesting. Turn. Get on the left side of the road. Right guys, whilst filming this project, the channel's hit a massive milestone, 50,000 subscribers, so thanks to each and every one of you for supporting the channel. Starting off 3 or 4 years ago building e-bikes, I built my son's first electric e-bike and second electric e-bike. Now we've built him his first car, first crash repair. So it's been an insane journey so far. Who knows where we're going to be in a year or two's time. Hopefully we're going to hit that first plaque milestone of 100,000 subscribers in a not too long future. I've got some absolutely insane projects coming up soon. I've got parts waiting to go with some absolutely mental electric builds. More car projects and learning to weld and so much more. So thanks everyone for your support so far. Subscribe if you're not already. Hit that notifications button not to miss out on some really mental stuff I've got coming up, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.
I'll take you anywhere. Just tell me I'll be there. We don't need a plan. I like it unprepared. Whatever comes our way, we'll stay there for the day. So dream